Welcome back to PH.d TV, and today I'm going to rank my Pierce Brosnan James Bond films. So to me, Pierce Brosnan is someone that I kind of consider my James Bond. Now, I actually never saw him in theaters. By the time his last movie came out, I was only 6, but I was watching the James Bond movies loosely. I was watching the VHSs. The first one I ever saw probably was one of his, if I'm being completely honest. And it wasn't until 2006 I saw Casino Royale, which of course is Daniel Craig. But until that came out, I had a full 10 years of getting to know James Bond through the eyes of Pierce Brosnan and then everyone else. But Pierce Brosnan was my first. So with that being said, I do have a ranking of Pierce Brosnan films, the James Bond ones, that I do appreciate more than the other. Starting off with number 4 is probably everybody's number 4, Die Another Day.
Magnificent view.
My friends call me Jinx.
My friends call me James Bond.
Oh. Now there's a mouthful.
You're a rare challenge, Mr. Bond.
Where you're going, you'll get us both killed.
Let's get down to business.
I take it Mr. Bond's been explaining his Big Bang Theory.
Yeah, I think I got the thrust of it.
What happened to you? Bond. Plenty of time to sleep when you're dead.
So you live to die another day.
And this one's actually, to me, and again, consider that I was probably 10 years old when I saw it the first time. So for a guy who was not really into film, hadn't quite been in the film industry, didn't know the rules, and just looked at a movie as this turn your brain off entertainment factor, Die Another Day was fun. I liked it, it was great, I watched it a lot. But as you get older, you kind of start seeing the cracks. And those cracks are pretty obvious. I mean, let's think about this. If you take away the first 15 minutes, because I do think this movie has a great setup in regards to Bond being taken a prisoner of war, which is a new idea. I actually didn't have an issue with his opening credit sequence being how brutal his time as being a prisoner of war was.
Until you remember Madonna was doing the theme song.
And it sets up that when he gets traded back to go to England and maybe even return to MI6 if they were to take him back, it really sets a really nice stage for a revenge style story. But then we don't do that. It was a great idea in concept, and it was one that never got paid off or delivered. And I do think Pierce Brosnan gives one of his better performances. I feel in the 4th movie he's comfortable playing Bond, and I've discussed he is the most elegant, and he's comfortable playing the role, and you know he loves it. And then you go to the Ice Castle, which I think is actually a really cool idea, truthfully. But the things they do in the Ice Castle is kind of goofy as well, to the fact of it being a hotel, but how it's probably not going to sleep too warm. And I know the place exists in real life, and that's probably why they wanted to go there, show the timely architecture of that place, but a lot of it doesn't make sense. And then you have the laser from space that somehow got approved. Then you have the tidal wave sequence, which we don't talk about. It's kind of fun in a goofy way, but we don't talk about. And the movie goes on and on and on. And Halle Berry's fine. I like Halle Berry. I think she's a great actress. In fact, she was right off the heels of just winning her Oscar. But I don't think she does anything to deliver in terms of a change in the story. It's one of those roles where I don't feel she's helpful enough to where if she did not exist in the movie, I don't feel the movie would have changed at all. But it's fine. It's a fun movie. And it is a movie where if you turn your brain off, it's manageable. The quips are kind of dumb in some places. The quips are kind of funny in others. But again, it is ultimately dumb, but fun dumb. Dumb in a fun way. All right, so we're gonna go to number 3 out of 4 for me, and that is gonna be Tomorrow Never Dies.
Bond. James Bond.
How much do you know about Elliot Carver, 007?
Worldwide media ban. Owns newspapers, radio, satellite TV.
There's no news like bad news.
I understand you once had a relationship with Carver's wife.
Was it something I said?
How about the words, "I'll be right back"? I'm from the New China News Agency.
Looking for a news story?
Could have taken care of him.
Let the mayhem begin. Your new BMW. Will you need collision coverage?
Yes.
Property destruction?
Definitely.
Personal injury?
Accidents do happen.
grow up, 007.
You seem to have developed a certain attachment.
I get to work with a decadent agent of a corrupt Western power.
I think you found the right decadent, corrupt Western agent as a partner.
Phase 2 is underway.
This holiday season,
The hell is he doing?
his job, the world belongs to Bond.
When you remove Mr. Bond's heart, there should just be enough time for him to watch it stop beating.
I would have thought watching your TV shows was torture enough.
And to me, this one, I honestly feel the next two movies could be interchanged with being my second or third, second, however you want to put it, because they're equally fun in their own ways. But this is the action movie Bond, the one that also brings in the kung fu style action involved and just merges everything in a really smart way. The villain, I think, was way before his time. I honestly think the villain is more relevant today than most Bond movies. And it's just a fun performance. The opening with the nuclear missiles, the planes, and it's an action movie. It's Pierce Brosnan's most action-forward Bond film. And it is a shut your brain off situation. The story is actually very good. The story is actually very intriguing. As I said, a lot of that has to do with the villain's plot being very timely. The car sequence where he's driving the car off of his phone in the back seat while also utilizing gadgets is just fun. And you can tell that Pierce Brosnan's having a great time. Wei Lin as the Bond girl's a great one because this one I actually feel the Bond girl is very useful in this instance. Unlike Halle Berry, she actually has a role, she's helpful, and she progresses the story further. And it hits a finale, and just like every great Bond film, really, if you think about it, ends in a lifeboat and Bond getting the girl. But the thing is about this review for this one is that I enjoy it, but I don't have anything really negative to say, but not any crazy positives to say. It's just kind of in that weird, I like it, I kind of know the reasons why I like it, I kind of know the reasons why it's not the top two. It's actually technically on the lower half of the 4 movie ranking. I just know I like it, but I also know it's not my number 1 or 2 pick. But the number 2 pick is actually going to be The World Is Not Enough.
As the countdown begins to the 21st century, it's good to know there is still one number you can always count on.
Bond.
Bond.
Can't you just say hello like a normal person?
Renard is behind this.
He will die, along with everyone in the city.
We do not negotiate with terrorists.
His only goal is chaos.
I sent 009 to kill Reynard. He put a bullet in his head. That bullet's still there.
He feels no pain. He can push himself harder, longer than any normal man.
No hard feelings, Mr. Bond.
It appears that you have been beaten.
Don't make this personal.
I can't do that.
I just can't help thinking I'm next.
New model?
The very latest in intercepts and countermeasures, and 6 beverage cup holders.
I've always tried to teach you 2 things. First, never let them see you bleed.
And the second?
Always have an escape plan.
For the world's greatest secret agent,
You've defused hundreds of these, right?
when the stakes are high
Yeah, but they're usually standing still.
Life's full of small challenges.
and the danger hits too close to home,
He has M.
By noon tomorrow, you'll feel nothing at all.
I thought it was your job to protect me.
it's not just professional,
Someone's tampered with the bomb!
it's personal.
I have to get it back, or somebody's gonna have my butt.
First things first. I'm gonna find him.
Who's afraid now, Mr. Bond?
I will not miss.
I never miss.
Do you want to put that in English? For those of us who don't speak spy?
Why am I suddenly worried I'm not carrying enough insurance?
Your time is up.
The world is not enough.
Now, growing up, again, before the Daniel Craig movies, I would actually say I watched The World Is Not Enough more than any of the other Pierce Brosnan films. I don't know why, but I just did. For one, I do feel this is probably at least top 3 best openers for a Bond film. Between the bank heist, between the banker scene, the explosion at MI6, and the boat chase, it's just fun, it's great. Pierce Brosnan, once again, he's just amping his Bondisms up, and he's having a good time while also looking great doing it. And what I like about too is that I do believe it's the first Bond movie where the main villain is actually the main bad guy. And I know there's kind of the argument of, is Bernard the bad guy or is Elektra the bad guy? Just because of how the movie sets it up. But that's the whole twist. You think Bernard's the bad guy because he had abducted Elektra back in the day, but then she actually flips the script, takes Bernard as her own, and the plot goes from there. Bond falls in love, or at least alludes to him getting there, with Elektra, the bad guy. And it just gives a great dynamic to a Bond film that really needed that dynamic, because if you did not have that dynamic, it honestly would have fallen pretty flat and debatably on probably the more boring Bond films because of the emotional stakes this one offers. The biggest negative to this movie, I would probably say, is going to be two things. One, Denise Richards as Christmas Jones. And of course, she's Denise Richards. Beautiful, she's this, she's that. She's not a nuclear scientist. She's just not. And she doesn't portray it in a very believable way. And once again, aside from just one scene where she had some general common knowledge, in the pipe scene where her and Bond are going to deactivate a bomb, which turns out to be a setup and she didn't really have to be there to begin with, other than Bond needing a Bond girl, she does nothing really to progress the plot. Bond just needs a romantic interest at this point, or at least a foil that's not Elektra. And the second thing that I have an issue with this movie with is the fact that they tease Bernard being this painless man, not impervious, but this painless man who can feel no pain, and then still have a fight where he grimaces and it's just, they don't really pay that off for something that they really built up to be this near superpower for Bond to go up against. And that's pretty much it for Bernard. They just set something up they didn't pay off, and it's kind of frustrating, but still is kind of a good bad guy. I am on the side that Elektra is the main bad guy, but they do treat Bernard like the main villain in the climactic battle at the end. So I'm a little mixed and mashed on that. But the thing is, again, I watched this the most growing up, and I'll be honest, the last time me and a buddy watched a James Bond movie together and we just chose one, we chose this one for obvious reasons, is that it's easy, you have the style, you have the gadgets, and you have that dynamic between Elektra and Bond that just kind of make it such an enjoyable and easy watch. And that leads me to number one, and obviously what's left over is Goldeneye.
When the world is the target.
72 hours ago, a secret weapon system was detonated over Severnaya.
And the threat is real.
Goldeneye exists. A radiation surge that destroys everything with an electronic circuit.
You can still depend on one man.
I want you to find Goldeneye.
3.
Find who took it.
2.
And stop it.
1.
The name's Bond. James Bond.
The world's most famous secret agent is back.
We aim to please.
And this time, 007 is facing the ultimate enemy. The man who knows him best.
Hello, James. What an unpleasant surprise.
006.
What's the matter? No pithy comeback?
He was your friend, and now he's your enemy and you will kill him.
Is the satellite in range? Target is London.
Now, the entire world is about to be caught in the crossfire.
See you in hell, James.
You first.
Kill him.
The pleasure will be all mine.
Did you check her out?
Head to toe.
3 clicks, arms the fuse. Don't say it.
The writing's on the wall?
Grow up, 007.
I think you're a sexist, misogynist dinosaur, a relic of the Cold War.
No, James, I was always better.
Both of you, stop it! You like boys with toys. Trick is to quit while you're still ahead.
I wouldn't think of it.
Charming, sophisticated secret agent. Shaken but not disturbed.
Get us out of here!
Bond, only Bond. The man just won't take a hint.
You don't need the gun.
That depends on your definition of safe sex.
On November 17th, United Artists brings you,
Trust me.
James Bond.
Why can't you just be a good boy and die?
That's one trick I've never learned.
And Goldeneye for me is my personal number 2 pick. For me, aside from Casino Royale, Goldeneye is my favorite Bond film, second place, because it's another entry and it's directed by the same guy, so maybe it's the director I just really like and his style and the sweet spot he brings to Bond. But to me, you have the best Bond girl that Pierce Brosnan gets to have. She actually progresses the plot, has the best relationship with him, and chemistry. Brosnan to me looks the best in this one in terms of how he treats Bond and acts as Bond, as well as maybe even dresses, but I mean, he dresses wonderful throughout the rest of the entire tenure of his. But I also love how Bond goes up against his equal. Another ex-00 agent. We're still kind of in a Cold War era in a post-Cold War film timeline. It's updated masterfully. Famke Janssen as Onatopp is fantastic. She's actually probably one of the most menacing Bond girls there are, and I count her as one. And debatably my favorite action scene in all of Bond is in this movie, and that is really and truly the tank chase through St. Petersburg. Now my wife hates that scene, but I love it. And 2, Goldeneye is also the theme by Tina Turner is also the song that I wake up to in the morning that says it's time to go to work. So if that doesn't tell you something, Goldeneye is that sweet spot. I think it's Brosnan's best film. I don't think he quite gets to the tier factor as what his first movie was. Very similar to Craig. I think Martin Campbell as a director hits the sweet spot just somewhere, somehow with his Bond films, to where no matter how good the other movies go for both Craig and Brosnan, the first movies are the crowning achievements of both actors, Goldeneye being no exception. Those are my picks for Pierce Brosnan's Bond movies being ranked against Die Another Day, Tomorrow Never Dies, The World Is Not Enough, and then Goldeneye. Let me know down below what you think. What's your favorite Brosnan movie? What's your ranking? Let me know. I'd love to have the conversation of why this and why that with your choices, or if they're even similar to mine. Let's have a healthy discussion about it. With that being said, also subscribe, click the notification bell, and again, as always, this has been PH.d TV. We'll see you next time.